My name is Clare. I'm a graphic designer at DMM. I've been climbing for about 3 years now, mainly indoors and more recently sport climbing outside. I'd love to learn to lead trad, especially as I live in North Wales, but lack confidence with setting up belays and placing gear. I've booked some days with Kerr mountaineering, so I feel comfortable leading multi-pitch trad.
Moving from indoor climbing or sport climbing to trad climbing is quite an involved but also very exciting step for a lot of people in their climbing journey. And there's quite a lot of key differences between trad climbing and sport climbing, and that can be why some people find it a little intimidating. Hello Claire.
Hi Alice.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. But we'd meet here in the climbing wall because there's a few bits we can do here and we can just have a nice chat about what we want out of the week. So we've got the 5 days. What I thought would be really nice is to know a few of the aims that you've got for the week, or even just the aims that you have for summertime, so what you'd like to be able to do in the future, and we can sort of set you off on the journey towards that.
So I'd like to be comfortable placing gear, building belays, then to lead multi-pitch trad.
Amazing, okay, cool. So your ultimate aim is just to be able to go out leading trad climbs, like multi-pitch, just around this sort of area, I guess. Moving from sport climbing to trad climbing, if you've already done lots of sport climbing, your actual climbing ability is normally really good. So it's a nice way to transition, because then we can get on some easy trad and then you get to learn all the other bits. The reason I met here is because the way we belay outside with trad is a little different to how you belay with sport, so we can have a look how we belay differently for trad climbing. So I thought what we'd do is start off by checking tying in and belaying and stuff, so just basic climbing checks. What do you normally tie in with when you're climbing? Do you know what knot you use?
I do a figure of 8.
Great, cool, so let's do that. So if we just both tie in, and we always tie in with a figure of 8 trad climbing, and then Fab, and you tie a stopper knot in yours too, which is great. So to start with, I just want to know that you can belay from the bottom, so bottom rope in, just taking ropers in as someone's climbing, and then we'll progress that to lead climbing, so lead belaying, and then we'll look at how we change that for trad climbing. Loads of people sport climbing use assisted braking device. When we're trad climbing, we actually use a different type of belay plate. This is the one that normally I recommend to people when they first start trad climbing. But basically when you're trad climbing, for a lot of reasons, you want to do a much more dynamic and softer belaying method than you do in your sport climbing. And the way that we can do that is using these. Sometimes people have done stuff before and don't actually know why they're doing it that way. So it's quite nice for me to explain it all. If this was the rope I was going to belay on, so this is my live rope, so this is coming from my climber and it's coming down, and then down here would be what we call the dead rope, so the rope beneath me and that I'm holding down as braking. And what I do is I take a fold in the rope and pass it through the belay plate here, and you see like that. So the rope from my climber is coming into the top, it's coming around the back of the belay plate and back out the bottom here through these grooves. And what the grooves do is they give you a way of, as you pull the rope into there, it jams the rope in and it grips it more. So it's like almost like helping with your braking, but it's not doing any braking for you. And what's quite nice, they have a little picture. So if you're ever unsure, a climber's side and hand side. So once I've done that, what I can then do is clip that through there. So my screw gate goes through both the metal wire of the belay plate and the rope. Screw that one up so it's safe. And then I'm ready to go. To take in the rope, so as someone climbs up, I'll be watching them climb as they climb up. Some slack rope is introduced into the system. So all I'm doing is a belay at the bottom, a bit like you'll have done, is just taking some rope in, and then I'm locking off down here and switching my hands over. And this locking off down here process is what's really important with this belay plate, more so than assisted braking, because I am in charge of the safety, I'm controlling the braking. So as I pull down, it puts this big old S-bend here in the rope, and that friction, as well as the friction of the rope being jammed into these teeth here, just allows the braking. So if I just quickly recap here, so what I'm doing here is I've got one hand here, I'm taking the rope up and down, crossing my hands over beneath the belay plate, and then that one goes back up. Lovely. Cool. Yeah, fab. Yeah, and then down we go. Great. Woo. Great, so if I were climbing, so if I'm lead climbing, I need more rope as I go. So I was like, yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's great, so still backing up that hand. Yeah, and that's the important bit there. People often tend to skip that and just slide the hand. Yeah, lovely. So that's really nice. I'm not feeling like I'm being pulled down at all, but there's not too much slack in the system as well. What would be quite nice to do before we sort of finish is just check having 2 ropes, because it's a little bit weird when you're so used to having 1 rope, suddenly having 2 to manage. Instead of just holding it all as a singular, like you would with a normal rope, just one, what we do is we split it. So you see, see there, I've got 2 fingers on the blue rope, I've got 2 fingers on the red rope. When we're belaying with double ropes, if we've got slack in one rope that we need to take in, then with this double finger system we have, I'm holding onto the blue, letting it slide through the red, and as I take in there, the blue comes tight, the red stays in my hand, and I slide that one back up. If I did it again, that's taking the blue tight, coming back to here. Keep hold of it there so we do paying out.
Okay.
When you need to pay out, sometimes when someone's leading, they need slack on one rope and not the other. So if I wanted slack on red, then you grip the red one and your hand slides over the blue one. That's it. So what you're aiming to do is keep the blue rope in place. So we'll try again. Almost, so let your hand slide over the blue one a bit more.
Oh,
that's
okay,
better.
yeah.
There you go. When you're taking in and letting out with double ropes, the bottom hand can slide. That's it, so try slack on blue, yeah. So sliding over red and gripping blue. That's it. Nice one. We'll get plenty of chance to practice this over the next few days, but what this has done is just given us a bit of an idea about managing and belaying on double ropes. So it's just a bit of an introduction as to how to do that.
Yeah, no, it definitely feels different to sport climbing where it's just single. So
Yeah.
I think I'll just have to practice a bit with the sliding.
Okay, let's have a go at placing some gear.